This video is sponsored by Adorama. So today I'm out in the field and I do want to give some credit to Autel. I did talk about this in my previous video that the one thing with Autel is that they need to push out these firmware updates a lot quicker, especially right when this thing's been released. They now have a couple new firmware updates addressing a lot of stuff that a lot of people have been talking about, some of the things I've talked about in my previous videos about some of the changes or some of the issues that we're running into. And I'll put the updates here on screen as far as what the firmware numbers are and what the app I'm using. I'll put all the latest info here on screen. But in this video, I do want to test out all those new things that they've listed there, see exactly what has changed, see if we can really see a difference. So I'm gonna get all set up, and before we jump into all those updates, a quick word from today's sponsor, Adorama. And for those who aren't familiar with Adorama, Adorama is one of the largest, most reputable online retail stores that specializes in camera gear, lenses, audio equipment, even things like musical instruments and drones, just like this one. This is the Autel Nano. They also have a full list of all the DJI drones. The one thing I do like about Adorama is that they're consistently updating their deal of the day, and they always have different special packages on a bunch of equipment. So if you're looking at getting a drone, they don't just necessarily have just a drone on sale, they'll have a package deal. So you'll get a really good price and you'll get a bunch of accessories, a bunch of possibly bags and extra things that you might need, whether it's for your drone or your camera gear. And the one thing I do like about Adorama's website is they actually have a used section. So if you're looking at some new gear, whether it's even a drone or a camera gear, new lens, I highly recommend just looking at the used section. They have a bunch of stuff in there that just might be a basic open box, but you'll still get a big discount on those products. So if you're looking at getting some new gear, new camera, or drones, I'll make sure the links are down below in the video description. Make sure you guys check out Adorama. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring this video. And I do have the Nano here on the bench, and the first thing I did notice though, and we'll go through all the good stuff, but one of the things I did notice that I did not like, and this was something I did bring up in one of my previous videos, is that as you look on my screen here, if I go to video mode right now, I can record. I can hit record, which is fine. It's on the ground, it's on the bench, and I can actually hit record. The thing that's weird is that when I go into pro mode, as you can see, I don't have the option to change the settings yet. You actually have to have the drone up in the air. So I don't know why that's still an issue to be able to change my pro settings while I'm on the ground. Like I said before, I like to change those things while I'm on the ground so that I can dial in things like my filters and things like that while I'm pointing it out there. So the fact that I have to put it up in the air to change manual settings or pro settings, I still can't do that. They did add one thing here. You can actually see at the very bottom, they did add, you can see how much time you have on your SD card. That's a great thing. But like I said, you can't actually change your pro settings while it's on the ground. The only way you change your pro settings is getting it up in the air. So kind of weird there, and hopefully they'll be able to change that because I like to dial things in before I actually get it in the air. All right, so we do have the drone up in the air. First thing I do want to check out is just to see some of the obstacle avoidance indicators here. As you can see when I'm flying, you can see that I have an aircraft tail. It's telling me that there's something behind me at 24 feet. If I bring this down, I see that there's something in front, about 30 feet ahead. Bring it down a little bit lower. So we do have some nice indicators here as far as obstacle avoidance indicators on the screen. So these are really nice. Let's actually get out of pro mode. Let's just go back into auto for now. So as you can see, we do have obstacle avoidance. We have the nose. So I'm actually full throttle forward and it's not moving. So that's a good thing. We do have those nice indicators on screen, which is pretty cool. Let's go into the setting mode on the right-hand side. And you can see now video resolution, we have it at 4K, which is good, but with video frame rate, before it used to only be 30 frames a second. Now we do have some options here. We have 30, 25, and 24. I shoot at 4K at 30 frames a second. And if I go to something like 2.7, we do have the options for same thing, 24 to 30. If I drop it down to 1080p, I believe we have the 60. Yeah, so we have 60 frames at 1080p. Next up that we have is the ability to have autofocus and manual focus both in photo and in video. So as you can see here, if I go into video mode and I can actually switch it at the very bottom. It says say autofocus and manual focus. Click on that. Now I'm in manual focus. If I point this down, that way you can see it a little bit better, and I can scroll this and you should be able to see it now out of focus just like that. So you do have the option there to do manual focus. The next update we also have is the ability to have zoom. So as you can see here, we do have the zoom functions on the right hand side. You can see that we have the 4x, 2, and 1x. Let's just hit those and see what those look like. There's 2x zoom. Let's go 4. And also if you click and hold it, you have a scroll wheel to go even further, just like that, all the way to 16. Now the image quality isn't that great when you're zooming in because it is just a digital zoom, but if you press and hold, you can actually bring up that little scroll wheel and you have the ability to now zoom in and out using that little wheel versus just clicking the 1x, 2x, and 4x. Next up we have is the higher resolution photos. This was something that they marketed a lot with that 50 megapixel photo. So in order for you to turn that on, what you need to do is go into photo mode on the right hand side, click on the settings icon on the top right, and now I'm in single photo mode right there, and you can actually go into photo resolution, and now you have the larger 8192 by 6144. Click on that one and it does say it only supports JPEG. So you're not able to do JPEG and RAW at the larger resolution. Next up that we have is customizable photo watermarks or photo stamps, which is interesting. Kind of cool, I guess, if you just want to take a bunch of photos and videos and just document something and not really worried about, you know, printing it or having anything fancy on it. You just really want to document it and just gives you a quick little stamp so that you don't have to go into something like your editing program to add it on there. So initially I was like, you know, what are you really going to use that for? But I think it's kind of a cool thing for people that just want to document and you have some sort of stamping on your photo. So what you need to do if you want to turn that on, you go to settings in the top right, go to camera, and as you scroll down, you can see add timestamp and photos to your videos, to your photos and videos, and you can customize the watermark as well. So right now I have my watermark set to say FlytPath. So if I hit save and I have timestamp on, now when you go back out and you take another photo, so let me just turn this way. If I take a photo here, okay, and you can actually see here on the very bottom left, and I'll put this on screen. The one thing I did notice though, when I went to video mode and I did video, so I'm recording video right now, ideally timestamp should be on this as well. But when I went into my preview, but I will look at the full resolution video, and I hit preview and I click on it, I'm not seeing it here on the bottom. So let me look and make sure if it is on there on the video, on the final download, but it's not showing up on my preview screen that the timestamp is on the video. So I will do an update on that and let you know. And one update they also made is the image transmission background effect. So if you look right now, you actually look at the black bars around there. It actually is black. And then if you turn the image transmission background effect on, what it does, it gives you a kind of a blurred out, whoa, or it gives you a green screen. How about that? Okay, so could be another bug. I don't know, but now I'm getting some weird stuff on my screen. Let me turn off that background effect. Maybe that's affecting something, but there you go. Turned it off, and now I don't see that green kind of glitch. So there you go. Probably don't recommend turning on that blur effect because for some reason it just made my screen kind of go wacko. Next up that we have is two things actually. There's a Jello effect a lot of people have been talking about, and if you guys aren't familiar with Jello effects, it's basically when there's some micro vibrations in there, and what it does, it makes the footage kind of jitter just a little bit. And a lot of people were complaining about that, so they said that they did fix it. What I want to do now is do two things. I'm going to go in regular speed, or actually I'm going to go in the all three speeds. And one thing that they did also update is the speeds on it to be a little bit more consistent on all the modes. So whether it's in smooth or standard or in sport mode, let's see what we're getting for speed. But at the same time, while I'm testing out the speed, also let's look out for Jello. So let's go into, first let's go into smooth mode. So I will start here and go into smooth mode, focus straight there. And let's just line it up so I can try to get the same path every single time. Hit
Start
record, and let's go into smooth mode. And what you want to do is note the bottom left at what our speed is looking like. So let's just go straight forward. And there is really no wind out here today, so I don't think it's going to affect too much as far as the wind goes. But as you can see here in smooth mode, we do have about 11 miles an hour, which is not too bad. Standard, okay, we are in standard mode. So we're at 11 in smooth. Standard mode, we are getting 22, about 22 and a half, about 22 miles an hour, okay? And let's jump into sport mode. I do like the fact that they added this little pop-up with that little thing that says don't show again. Kind of cool. What they could do, like I brought that up actually in one of my previous videos, and I don't mind that. You know, don't show it again, because if you are flying it, you should know that we're in sport mode. But you can also put it just on screen. That just pops up and says you're in sport mode, optical avoidance is off, and then they can have it fade away. Just like a notification, they can do that as well. I'd probably recommend doing that too. So hit confirm. Now I'm in ludicrous, or they call it ludicrous mode. And let's go forward. So in standard, I was at 22 and a half, going in the same direction now in ludicrous mode, and I am at 28, okay? So I'm at 28 miles an hour. All right, so a couple more things that has been updated on the firmware, which they mentioned. One of the things was the horizon. They said that, hey, fixed the horizon. So what I wanna do is just bring it up here. Let me hit record there, and then focus it on the outside parts. And as you can see, the horizon looks pretty good. I have my thirds on there so you can see all my grids, just in case you want to have some sort of reference, which is always good to have. But what I want to do is, let me put this in, you know, it's in standard mode right now. Let me put it to ludicrous mode and, you know, kind of go back and forth. So the gimbal is going to, you know, put some work in there, but what you want to look for is that, that horizon. So let me just spin it around a little bit and see if we have any tilt or anything that's not, you know, going back to normal. So as you can see, I'm just kind of spinning it around, flying it in ludicrous mode. So I am trying to, you know, kind of jerk the drone around a little bit more than normal. And let me just go back and forth here, go left to right. And you can see the map on the bottom left where you can actually see the angle of my drone. I am actually pushing it all the way one side to the other, and the horizon looks pretty good. So looks like they did fix some of the horizon issues that people were having. And let's just push it left, and you can see the angle of my drone, and the horizon hasn't moved. So that's pretty good. Let me turn it around here, and I'm trying to keep it right on the third so it gives us a really good reference on the horizon. But as you can see, looks solid so far. So horizon, I don't think a lot of people have been talking about the horizon. Looks pretty good right now on the Nano as far as this update goes. The one thing I did notice too that I do like with the Nano versus the Mini is that even if I'm in sport mode on the Mini, or when I'm in sport mode on the Mini, is that if I'm pointing straight down, so for instance, if I'm pointing down here, so I'm pointing straight down right now on the Nano. Now, on the Mini, if I'm pointing straight down and I punch it forward or accelerate forward, the gimbal will spin up. Now here on the Nano, here we go on the sticks, I'm gonna go straight forward, and there, we don't have that little gimbal movement compared to the DJI Mini. So that's a really good thing that, you know, that Autel has done there that they have over the Mini. There it is, guys, some updates on the Autel Nano. I'm glad that they're finally pushing out some updates quicker. That's 2 updates now in the past 2 weeks. So hopefully they just continuously listen to their customers and get a lot of these changes fixed and updated so that we can start enjoying this drone a lot more. Like I mentioned, we're still missing that dynamic track. So I know a lot of people are waiting for that follow me option because we do have optical avoidance on here. So I think that'll probably be one of the bigger updates that'll be coming up, hopefully now within the next couple of weeks. Once again, huge thanks to our sponsor of this video, Adorama. If you guys are looking at getting a new drone, some camera gear, some lenses, some audio equipment, some instruments, make sure you guys check out the Adorama links down below in the video description. That's all I got for this firmware update. If you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be much appreciated. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos. This is Ultra Anastasio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you next video. Take care.